Hi, this is Ari Kopel with Shattering the Matrix on BlogTalkRadio. I am very happy to have you all tune in again this week. I'm having a solo show again today because I have some really good information that I wanted to share with you guys all in reference to channeling and that type of thing. And hopefully during the week also we're going to be having Serena, which is going to be my co-host. And we're going to be delving more into other information about the Matrix and about the Archons and other forces that are holding this planet hostage. This particular show will address channeling information. And channeling is one of those things that is really something that could ignite sparks when it comes to blogs and the comments that follow, because a lot of people are on different pages with respect to channeled information. There are those that really love channeled information and they get a lot of good stuff from it, and then there's some that see right through it. I'm one of those that see right through it. And the reason is because it's been a venue for hijacking. In other words, that is a venue used to put in disinformation using what we think are benign beings that are being channeled. And what kind of beings do we think are being channeled? Mostly ascended masters, beings from off-world, could be alien, could be the council of whatever. Usually, of course, it's a very high and important position that somebody that whatever that being is channeling has, so that we are, more impressed and in awe and wanting to emulate that being and listening, what they're saying. And again, it's a way that a lot of us use this as a crutch, thinking that we need an external information source to tell us, how things are progressing on the planet, what we need to do to get ourselves redeemed, to get ourselves in an ascension, to get ourselves into a spaceship. To get the golden key to the gates of heaven, or whatever it is that whatever makes us tick, okay? Because we're all on so many pages and so many different belief systems that I don't even know what it is. Some of us it's nirvana, some of us is heaven, some of us is the fifth dimension. Another one is the ship called Neptune. Every one of us are in so many different levels that I just don't, or different philosophies and that I don't even know that we can address every single person, but we can be general and state that channeled information is not coming from the highest source. In other words, it's not coming from source itself, and it has a very high chance, and more than likely at 100%, I would say, of being hijacked, because we don't know where this information is coming from or the intent of those that are communicating with us. If a being of light is communicating with you, usually it's not through what we are accustomed to as human language, as human speech. There usually is no time and space. There's no words involved. They communicate with you directly. It is pure. It is uncompromised information, and it's usually in packets of information. So that's one of the signs right there, especially if they're using speech. And then a lot of the stuff is embellished and just put in such a way so that the information sounds genuine because they're truths that we know in our heart to be true, and then it's covered up, the disinformation or the information that will cause us to it's almost like a little virus that will hack in there, and it starts flourishing and flourishing and flourishing and takes us off track. that is also implanted in there, and it's hidden in such a way that we can't decipher what was true and what isn't. And because we are trusting the source of information, we're more open. We're not vigilant. So it comes in and becomes our truth, and then it steers us away from the path of what we need to do to be able to uphold the light on this planet. And what it does is it keeps us usually looking into the space of feeling good and being in a perpetual blissed out state, shall we say. Sometimes that could be one of the things it does for us. Another one is the belief that we really are already in an ascension, or we've already ascended, or there's certain waves that are going to ascend, and we're either the next one, or or ones have already ascended, but we're next, or our turn is coming up. Or the Earth has already made it. There's nothing to do, because it's already in divine order. And so there's a lot of things that are being implanted in those messages that, again, keep us from looking at the real problem. And the real problem is that the world as we know it is being taken over by forces that we could call them archons, we can call them demons, or we can call, and all of these are just, manifestations of something that is more evil than that's controlling those. We can call them, negative aliens or evil aliens or whatever. Look, bottom line, it's a force that is in direct opposition to the true light of Prime Creator. So, you want to call them whatever you want to call them. You want to call them jinn. You want to call them entities, disembodied, whatever you want to call them. That's fine, as long as we understand that these are forces that are in direct opposition to the true light. And so I need to give you a little bit of a background as to why I'm even addressing this, and because I really wanted you all to understand and be able to pinpoint, be able to read a channeled information or listen to channeled information and be able to say, oh, here's an example of this, of this information. Here's an example of embellishment. Here's an example of terms of endearment. And these are all little signs that'll tell you that this stuff is not genuine information, that it's really not coming from a true master, it's not coming from the highest source, that it's been compromised, okay? So that is my mission with today's show. I'm hoping that I get through at least to some of you this way. I know that most of you that believe in channeled information resist this information, and you fight it tooth and nails with somebody who's trying to enlighten you to this, because this is a truth that you hold. This is a source of that you go to for the latest information of your news. Okay, this is your news channel. This is what's going to tell you what's going on in the planet. It's going to tell you what's going on with the ascension process. And since you're of that belief system, you don't want to hear anything that's going to derail that for you, because if that happens, sometimes, where do you go from there? And my whole point is that where you go is to source. That's where you go. That's where you should have been all along. But something, derailed us and gave us information that it was incorrect, made us feel good, and once you feel good, it's like a person on opium or a drug. It's very hard to get off something that makes you feel good, especially when the world outside of us is very difficult to live with. So when we have a little window of hope and to feel good, we definitely we gravitate naturally to that, because it's an endorphin, and that's not a good thing, because it clouds our vision, it clouds our judgment. So the reason I can speak to you this way is because since I was born awake, I truly was. This is not just a, words that I'm putting in here. that you've heard probably other people say, but in reality I was. And I became fully conscious of it, actually, that who I was at age 4. I actually was still connected to Source until very later in my life, until I became a young adult, and then I started believing in the fact that I was human, with limitations, and then through the school of hard knocks, I became jaded until I woke up again later and realized, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But in reality, I had all the gifts that of a person or a being that would not be of this planet. I did manifest many things as very young. I had amazing strength, physical strength, mental strength, emotional strength, spiritual strength at that very young age. And I had constant communication with beings of light, and I'm talking about the beings that uphold the true light of the Creator. There is a difference between those and the ones that pretend to be those of the light. And those that are of the highest of the light, that uphold the true light of the Creator, have a certain vibration. They have a certain way of communication. It does not even come close to what is trying to imitate that in the level of channelings and others that pretend to be of those levels. And I was taken at a young age to be directly trained and educated and that type of thing with the beings, the higher beings, beings that we have known to, we call them elders here, or / Elohim, and these are very ancient-looking beings. They would be the ones that you would probably, a lot of people think that they're like the biblical, what God would look like biblically, but that's what these beings look like. And these are themselves creator beings. They're beings that actually create worlds and universes and that type of thing. And so they are the ones that have actually taught me. They have actually trained me. I've actually been in their presence, not in a light body. Well, I can't say that, but I can say that it was not in a dream state. It was not in a meditative state. It was in a physical state where I was actually there in front of them. And I was taught along with other children my age. It wasn't just me, on one-on-one, although there were many one-on-ones, but it was definitely a group of, what were children at that time being trained or taught. Pretty much maybe even re-reminded. And more than likely it had to do with the mission. But anyway, But and then later on in life, many communications and many visitations, not only by them but others that also uphold the light of the Creator, as well as the ultra-terrestrials that did make their first major contact with me at age of 17, and then have not basically left my side since then. So what I'm trying to say is that when I speak to you about what I'm speaking to you based on firsthand experience, and it's not information that I've read somewhere so much as that I know for a fact of how these beings represent themselves and how they communicate. One of the things that they don't do is they don't come in and announce themselves. There is no ego involved. There are no ranks involved. There are no titles involved. They don't come in and say, I am Lord, so-and-so, Sanat Kumara. I am not, I am Sananda, Lord of, or whatever, the Christ, or, these are all things that are put in by entities / other maybe alien forms that are trying to communicate a message for an agenda, and they can't do it any other way other than to impress you, because we need to be impressed. We need to believe that there's something outside of ourselves that knows more, that can guide us to that place that we're seeking, whether it's a spaceship, an ascension, a heaven, or whatever that is, something other than this hellhole that we are experiencing at this moment. So we're willing to open our hearts, our minds. We're willing to lower our defenses, our discernment, if we even had any to begin with, for the purpose of this moment of a glimpse of a being that we are given our power to, that is going to give us this amazing insight and enlightened information that is going to get us a step closer to our goal, spiritual goal, whatever that you have deemed a spiritual goal at that time. So we're basically giving our power away. Instead of you hearing any of these beings saying that you need to connect directly to Source, they're basically giving you all the information, and most of the information is really decorated disinformation. That it's almost like a Trojan horse. Okay, that back in Troy, obviously the guards were. The ones who were guarding the doors of the entrance gate of Troy lowered their guard because it looked like a benign gift from the other side, the opposition or whatever. It was a benign horse. It was a benign gift, and they brought it in. And of course, you know the story behind that. The gift was laced with the opposition, with their enemy that was hiding inside the horse. So this is pretty much the way it looks like that these things are going down, how information is infiltrated to wonderful people that have just a good intention and want nothing more than to reach a level of spirituality, a level of attainment. And they're hoping that the messenger is benign and that the message is benign, that is coming from a high source, and it's really not. And the only way you can really prevent from being deceived is to go to source directly. Why would anyone need a translator? Why would anyone need information going from someone else? Do we really feel that we're not capable of getting that information? Do we really feel not worthy, not complete, not deserving, that an information like that would go to someone else that would have to interpret it for you as opposed to you yourself? Why would you think that? And that's what they want you to think. They want you to think that you're less than, that you are not worthy to receive that. And that's part of the fall of that fallen concept of the fall of Adam and Eve, and the fact that we're in sin, that makes us think that we are not worthy, that we are in sin, that we have missed the mark like that, that we are worthless beings that need to reach a certain level of attainment to be able to even rub shoulders with the ascended ones. The ascended ones, believe me, you have access to, if you really truly want to, if you truly believe that you can. And again, it's just a matter of knowing that you can. They do communicate directly to you. There is no need for an interpreter, no need for someone else receiving the information. So this particular show is really about trying to decipher what a channeled information might sound like, so that you can pick out the clues, the signs of a message, and know that this is not genuine information. There was an email that I received yesterday with channeled information from Sanat Kumara. First of all, Sanat Kumara does not channel. All right? None of the Ascended Masters channel. Neither do ultra-terrestrial beings channel. The ones that channel information are the ones that need to impress. The true beings of light do not need to impress. and they do not announce themselves as such and such and such and such. We know them through their vibration. It's a vibrational signature that they have. And when they communicate, it's like I said, they give it to you in downloads, telepathic downloads. It's full packets of information. Sometimes they're pictograms, and these unfold for you, and they reveal themselves as a knowing. You get them as a knowing, and it's a certainty that you get. An absolute knowing and an absolute certainty that what you have comes from a much higher level, information that you did not acquire through reading, did not acquire through listening, did not acquire through any other way other than that direct connection to a much higher source. And that's how you know that you've been communicated. So, for example, we have a channeled information here through, again, what is a being calling themselves Sanat Kumara, that the first thing out of its mouth says, "Welcome and greetings, I am Sanat Kumara, or as my friends call me, Raj." All right, you're going to see a couple of things in here that is very weird. One of the things is, number one, it's announcing itself as Sanat Kumara. Then it's calling itself something else other than Sanat Kumara. And so, again, the beings of light do not communicate or announce themselves. I'm amazed that this one didn't say that it was Lord Sanat Kumara, but that's a sign right there that it's not absolutely correct. Then their messages are just rants on information that we kind of know already. Because if we've been on the spiritual path for a while, we kind of already know. And our I am presence, our higher selves, know this stuff already. So it's that truism that I'm talking about, things that are true, and they're just generalities. But an ascended master does not waste its time. And believe me, there's no such thing as time. But what I'm saying is that they have important work to do. I mean, really important work to do. And a lot of it is obviously, on behalf of humanity, because there's so many, there's so many battles going on right now with these powers and principalities that they really don't need to come in and just talk nonsense, especially stuff that we already know in our being. So to come in and say things like, for example, let's see here, there are no immediate plans for this one, as I have said to you before, or Michael has. He deserves a good rest, and besides which he is quite confident that he can effect and do a great deal of work for what you think of as this side as well. It is amazing in many ways what can be accomplished when you do not have the confines of a mortal body. I mean, it's like chatter. It's just stuff just to take up time and space and to get you comfortable with things that are, kind of true, and they're benign, and, oh, okay, all right, and you'll swallow that. So it's kind of decorated. The topic is like, okay, and what's your point? It's fluff. It's just, a lot of embellishments and just things that to keep us open-hearted, to keep the information channel open, not only from the channeler but also with you, because you're the recipient. So you're still open. You're still you haven't put your guard up. Your guard is still down, because they're giving you information that is resonating with your being, and because it's true information. These are the truisms. So while that your channel is open because you're resonating with it, that's the way that eventually the disinformation will be infiltrated. One of the things that they use, which is very important, is, of course, the terms of endearment, dear ones, and things like that. So, precious heart, different words like that to keep you off guard again. Because since we want to function from that space of love, and we're beings of love, and we're beings that we are in service to others. Ultimately, that's what we are and who we are. We believe that when a being of light, it comes in, of course, obviously, if it's a being of light and is true being of light, then that being is coming from love. And how else are they going to express love then, other than using words like dear hearts and precious hearts and dear ones, and because that's how they express themselves. And that is not true. They do not express themselves that way at all. When you come from love, you don't need to use those words. You just are that. You're vibrating in that, and there's no need to do that. Those are words that are used to impress and to awe us and to keep us in that lull, in that stupor, so that we are still with our guards down and our hearts are open, and we're able to take in the marshmallow and the medicine, the marshmallow covering the medicine, the Trojan horse, as it comes in. So as long as our hearts are open and we're vulnerable, that information can be injected into us. All right? So, okay, so let's see here. I'm going to just skip over. I mean, this is a huge transmission and a huge channeled information, and it was really a radio show, so I'm not going to take up this whole radio program to do that. All right, let's see here. It talks about Mother Earth. It talks about the Divine Mother. And this Raj being, which is claiming to be also Sanat Kumara, says, if you're talking about the full restoration of heart consciousness, of course, this is the plan of the Divine Mother. So if you were to think of it in human terms, she is the boss. She is the beginning. She is the end. She is the all. And so, while there are many of us who are involved in this undertaking and process of restoration, understand it is always in accordance with her plan, with the plan, and always in accordance with universal law. All right. So that feels right? It feels good. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we don't think, because we've taken probably so many, we've heard so many lecturers, and we've probably read so many books and seen so many DVDs and probably YouTube videos, and heard other our peers talk about stuff like that. So it sounds in accordance to the being knows what he's talking about, and basically it's BS. It's just information that just. Okay, so you actually are channeling information to tell me what? Stuff that I don't know already? These are truisms that are used as glue to hold the BS together. Okay, it's basically, that's what it is. Because at any moment now, they're going to feed you the BS. So just wait for it, because it's coming. And then it continues with more BS. So nothing that we undertake in her name, or even in the name of Gaia, or humanity, or any of the councils, is permitted to go forward unless it is in alignment with the overall plan. If we don't know that by now, what we really needed a channeled information from Sanat Kumara, who has nothing better to do but to come in and just tell us this BS. I mean, we already know this stuff. Why do you need to even waste my time with this? So again, it's more truisms, just showing how benign this message is and how accurate it is, because we already have these packets of information in us, and so it's resonating with us. It's allowing us to keep our channel open, our heart open. So again, just wait for this information to come in any moment now. It keeps going on with more truisms, more generalized information, more stuff like that, and so the person who's conducting the interview with Sanat Kumara, or Raj, says something to the effect that he says, and that next mission, this next mission that Sanat Kumara is going to have, and that next mission is as solar logos, is it not, Raj? And then Raj says, that is correct. And again, calling attention to himself, giving himself importance. Of course, the person doing the interview is not discerning either, and is very much buying into this whole channeled process and the channeled information. Solar logos, Sanat Kumara, or any other being of light would not even. There's no reason to even do that. Honestly, you just do you do your job. You are of whatever whatever you do, and there is no reason to even address that with anyone for the purpose of what? Okay, that's just an ego trip, which of course tells you right there that it's not a being of light. And again, it's just the way that they use a lot of vernacular, a lot of colloquialisms, just different speech. The speech that is used is very of the earth, very. It's even Americanized. This is not true speech. It's not even the way that these beings communicate. And let's see here. Again, he just goes through a lot of generalities just to awe us. For example, one of the things is said Raj says, in the meantime, many of your star brothers and sisters populate the planet. They daily give what you would think of in the human realm as inspiration for new technology or a different understanding of how things work science-wise. So, of course, they are part of this. Again, more generalities, more fluff, things to awe us, so that we maintain our hearts open to the stuff. And then they'll give us like the disinformation, for example. Let's take a look. Okay. Before I go into that, he says, but just before you get to that, you could be a little bit more specific, please, on who the masters are who are here. And here being on the planet. Because I personally know of a seraphim who are in incarnation. I know of Elohim. I know of the leaders of some planetary high councils that are here. I know of prophets. So could you tell us in more detail or specificity who the people are who have come to participate and form in this ascension effort, please? And I think that was the one who asking this was the person, obviously, conducting the interview. And again, this is kind of information like, does it really matter who, this is like, not, it doesn't, why is this important? But it's important for those that need this type of information to justify their own existence, to justify, or let's say, to gauge where they are in their spirituality, to gauge where we are in terms of ascension, to gauge, if we're on the right path, on the right track. I don't know. I just don't understand why this is even necessary. But anyway, so that's the kind of stuff that's being given out. Then they start talking. The being, the Raj being, is then goes into naming all the different beings that are currently incarnated in the planet. All right, talks about Paul, Muhammad, Moses, Abraham, Saint Germain, Jwalkul, Kutumi, Maitreya, Buddha, Kuan Yin, and so on and so forth, which is absolutely, amazing. But you know what? Wow! Doesn't that make us feel good, right? That we've got all these powerful beings that are in the planet now, helping and bringing in the light and just making us, allowing the vibration of this planet to raise so that we can hit that fifth dimensional Earth as quickly as possible, so we can get into that ascension process. And usually it comes in waves. Apparently, another thing that he was saying, that there's waves. And then he says something like, let's see here. The interviewer is asking, all right, Raj, I noticed that we're halfway through the program, so I'm going to not speed along, but pick up our pace just a wee bit. How many people are now ready to ascend if full restoration occurred today? Gosh, that's a great question, right? A lot of people have that answer. I mean, that in the back of their heads, and they would like that answer, is what I'm trying to say. And Raj says, well, you have not made great progress, I am sorry to say. So you are still at about 50%. So imagine that. We're only at 50%, he says. And you say, well, how could that be? There has been a great deal of back and forthing. And now we do not see this. I can hear the collective sigh that is going out around the universe. We do not see this in a negative light. So that they do not see this in a negative light, meaning the ascended masters, the beings of light. And again, we are asking, he says, you to let go of that pass-fail, negative/positive way of looking at things. Yeah, right. Because, if it doesn't happen, then, well, I was wrong. We were only at really 20% or, 10% or, we weren't really ready. And there's always that open door where if the message doesn't come through into fruition, that there's always that exit. That there's a reason why it didn't happen. Oh, we weren't ready, or you weren't really ready, or, there was a lot of naysayers that just totally, were not on board with actually the ascension process, so kind of compromise everybody else's chance. This is truly convoluted information that is just. No, it's just not true at all. So it goes on and on. I mean, probably the whole show might have been more than an hour. I'm not sure. But one of the things here that says, let's see here. So Raj says, so there are times when we like to see impatience, and it is certainly far preferable to uncertainty. So while you are still around 50%, 50 to 55%, okay, because now it's 50 to 55%, that is changing because there is this very large group getting ready to jump. They are already in transit. They are just not quite there yet. And then the interviewer asks the following, says, Raj, it sounds like you're saying that some people will ascend early, and in fact that some people may ascend soon. Wow, look at that. So that's what they're saying. I mean, that's what he's deciphering from that information that Raj was giving. And my point is, what the heck, what about everybody else that is on the planet suffering? And it's all okay because they have contracts, and it's soul contracts. It's their karma. It's their karma to suffer, to be in a planet that is they're getting the short end of the stick with. I mean, why are we really buying into this, folks? I mean, really, why are we not seeing this? That what is being disseminated here, what is being given in terms of information, is erroneous information, and that it's just to keep us appeased, to keep us chasing that carrot. That something else is going to happen, that we're going to be there in no time at all, and so we're out of here. And then what? What about everybody else? What about those women, children, men caught in war? What about those people that that were not blissed out, that are really living this world, that are caught in a prison, in a system that is a prison? And in reality, the what's really happening here is that we don't understand that the ascension process is one of the ways of looking at it is really a blissed out process. It's a process that happens in our minds. It really is. When you really think that you're going to disappear, that you're going to be off this world. Is that what a lot of us think? And that's why when someone takes ayahuasca, it takes us to these wonderful realms and worlds. It really is. It's the mind. Your physical body's still here. It's not detached from you. So it's something that happens in the mind, and as long as we're blissed out and believe that we're not part of the world because we've ascended, and everybody else is still suffering, I just don't see that as being responsible. I just don't see that as being totally enlightened, somebody who's actually gotten it, But they want you to think that, because then you're not fighting them. You're not fighting their real agenda, which is really the enslavement of humanity. So one of the things that they're saying, he does actually call it a channeled information. He says, I am not talking about the distant future, my friend, and yes, the channel will chastise me because of our agreement. And that's Raj speaking, specifically calling that this is a channeled information. Of course, everybody knows it's channeled information, but I am telling you that channeled information is compromised. They're giving you the incorrect information. And then, of course, he states that everything is proceeding on its course, and he's very pleased to give you this good news that everything is on course. Again, that's that wonderful line, everything is in divine order, everything is as it should be, everything is in divine course, so there's nothing to do. Just do what you're doing because you're all on the right path. Even though you're 50%, you're all going to make it. It's everybody's going to ascend, and so that's the carrot. That's the carrot. It keeps you feeling good. You're doing the right thing. You keep it up. Humanity, we're going to win. Everybody, all the brothers and sisters of the light and the space brothers and sisters, we're all rooting for you. We're here to help you. And pretty soon there'll be mass landings and this all this hypnosis. Believe it or not, one of the channeled informations from the same source, the same channeler that I'm reading you from now, channeled back in January of 2012 the fact that she actually channeled a being, an alien being from the High Council of whatever. Can't even remember or pronounce the name right now. And this particular being, by the name of Grenner, had agreed, from the same person that's conducting the interview at this point, had agreed to take people on board their ship, or his ship, a ship called the Neptune, and had told people that the pickup was going to be on a Saturday, had people pack comfortable clothes, including bathing suits and whatnot, and have everything packed, that we're going to be picked up by black limousines, which later on became bicycles, which later on then that became a spaceships, little scout ships, or little cabs or whatever. They were going to pick them up and take them to the ship. That they were going to be given gadgets, that they can bring their iPods and iPads and for cell phones and whatever. They could take pictures inside the ship. That all these would be, they could plug it into the ship's panels or control panels and whatever. And you know what? People were buying this left and right. Even when the thing went south and it didn't happen, people still held on to the notion and the hope that this was going to happen, that was going to take place. And then, of course, when it didn't take place, it was the naysayers that made it not happen. The ones that actually were lucid, the ones that were not high on the opium. Those were the ones that caused it not to happen. Folks, I mean, honestly, I'm very, very disappointed with a lot of the people that call themselves light workers and that have allowed our ranks to be infiltrated by this information, and then that are calling the ones that are pointing this out, they're calling us all kinds of things. From racist to working with the dark side, to everything, and they've been totally compromised. They're holding this paradigm in place. They're holding humanity hostage, helping and abating with that because of their unwillingness to see the truth, their unwillingness to let go of old belief systems. Their willingness to allow beings that are work with the dark forces to work with them, and propagating this information through their own websites and blog talk radio shows and other ways and venues. If we don't snap out of this very quickly and see the truth, it's going to be very difficult to, with the few that get it, with the few that actually see it, because there's so much more of the light workers that are have been compromised this way, and who totally refuse to let go of these things. it's just going to be very difficult to snap out of it, to turn this world around the way it's supposed to be turned around. It's just going to be extremely difficult because it's an exponential thing. Every time we keep looking away, they're not only creeping up behind us and doing more havoc very stealthily and now sometimes very openly, but it magnifies, it's multiplied. Their manifestation skills are really that excellent, that organized. We can't fight this if we're not looking and if we're not vigilant and we're not seeing it for what it is. As a matter of fact, we're just helping them because we have our guards down. We are Troy. Okay, we are Troy. The light workers are Troy, letting in the Trojan horse, thinking it's benign, when all along it was the infestation to begin with that's going to take us down. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So my aim is to allow you to understand that beings of light do not communicate in this manner. Beings of light, ask you to go to source directly. They don't ask you to go and get the information from them. All right. Although you might get a download from them because that is the form of communication, but ultimately the goal is for all of us to reach the point of communicating directly with source, which is what they do. They don't communicate. You think a being of light communicates through a channeled message? Do they need a channeler for them? I mean, do they need someone to interpret information that comes directly from source for them? No, they work directly getting information from source. Why would you think that they are capable of it and we're not? What would make you think that we are less than? What would make you think that we don't have everything we need to be where we need to be to begin with? In other words, that we don't have to reach an ascension. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to be in a spaceship in order to be able to communicate with source. We don't have to be an ascended one to communicate with source. We can communicate with source now because we have everything we need to do that. We've always had that. All right? For something else to come in to give you information means that you are less than that being. That you don't have the capacity to do that. That you're not deserving of that. That's what that means. You're letting your power go to something else. And I'm saying that these beings of true light don't need an interpreter, don't need a channeler. They communicate directly. That's what we have to do as well, so that the information comes in crystal clear. And you will understand that the deception that's being done here to humanity and to you, that these words are all embellished, they're fluff. There is nothing in this message, nothing. The message was a Sanat Kumara message, and you can actually go, it's actually posted on the website, my website. Let's see here. You can go to goldenageofgaia.com. I believe that it could be in there. And find it for yourself. It's a Sanat Kumara channeling. It doesn't matter if it's Sanat Kumara, or if it's Sananda, or if it's Almoria, or if it's Saint Germain. Pick any of them. If it's channeled, read it. Read it. Read it the way I'm telling you to read it. Look at all the embellishment, all the fluff, all the information that just goes on and on and on. It's just verbal vomit. Okay? Verbal vomit. There's nothing there. There's nothing of importance, nothing you don't already know, and then the stuff that just is so good to be true, more than likely it is. Okay, the stuff that sounds so positive and everything is in divine order and everything is on course and the world is already ascended and a lot of you have ascended and everything is hunky-dory and blissful. Stop for a moment and take a look around you. All right, take a look at the true stuff that's happening around the world. Okay, mutilations of all sorts, children missing, satanic rituals, women being circumcised, and that's getting even rampant. All right, women being brutally raped, men being beheaded. just atrocities, okay? In what world that's ascended does this stuff really continue? In which world? Because it's not in my reality that or even in my knowing. It's not. If you really believe that some of us have ascended and we are already in the fifth dimension, or we're at the verge of, and these atrocities are still going on in this, how does that jive? How does that make you? How is that possible? Or are you of the philosophy that that the world is going to split, and that part of us are going to the fifth and the rest of us are going to hell? Because personally, I'm not going anywhere until I take care of business here. Okay? I don't want, if we think that we're going to have a home and clean it up and have a sparkling home and not take care of the cockroach infestation that's under the sink, all right, that's going to reproduce itself and eventually come out and crawling in the nighttime, leaving all the little trails of excrement, of cockroach excrement all over the place, and all of the potential viruses and things that the cockroach carries when it walks on your sink and on top of your counters and things. All right, if you think that is not, if you think you have a clean house, you're mistaken. You have to get rid of the infestation, because it's not fair to those sentient beings that are still in this world suffering while we think that we've got it all together, while we think that we have the ticket out, the golden ticket, because we're so deserving, because we really know, we're in the know. We have reached our spiritual attainment because we're all that. We're so spiritually in our high horse. And the higher the horse, the bigger our fall. How dare us? How dare us think this? And how dare us be so irresponsible that we don't just take a moment and say, you know what? Let me at least, contemplate what she's saying for 1 second. And be humble enough to not think that you've got it all together, and that maybe my information is, I'm so mistaken. I'm actually representing the dark side. I'm not. I'm actually not. I'm actually upholding the light, because the light has to shine on the darkness. The light has to shine on the darkness. You have to open up those cupboards and take a look at those freaking roaches that are multiplying, propagating themselves in there, that are going to cause the infestation in a house that you thought was pristine. That is what a responsible homeowner should do. A responsible mom or dad should do if they have children in the house, because you don't want those things, those creatures walking on the baby's formula and on your utensils, and then have your children eat it. Because because you were too irresponsible to open up the cupboards and take a look at what was crawling in there when you thought your house was clean. That's all I have to say. We better wake up. Okay? Not wake up to all this cushy BS that's being propagated out there, disseminated very freely. All right? But we better start getting some discernment, and right now. And you're not going to get it by this kind of crap. This is not discernment. This is the BS. This is the stuff that they want to feed you. You're a willing victim or a willing participant. I can't even say it's a victim, because if you're consciously doing it after hearing messages like this one and other messages and other people out there broadcasting the same type of information, because a lot of us are waking up to this. All right? And you're still holding on to that? You're willingly doing that? You are participating in the demise of this world. You and anyone else that you're with, in a group, in a philosophy, in whoever is of the same, on the same page, resonating with the same fluff information. You're all guilty of this. All right? So, I don't know. I don't know what to say. The only thing I can tell you is that we better shape up. And we better understand that these things are done on purpose to keep us from looking at what's really being done. Between everything that's happening, between the food that we're eating that's bad for us because it's been manipulated, the water that's been manipulated, the air that's manipulated, the constant bombardment of all kinds of frequencies, the subliminal messages that are in the mainstream media, and then what's happening in our government, just to take away the freedoms. This planet is definitely it's already in such a state that if we don't all get together and understand what's being done and wake up and snap out of it, there's not going to be enough time to recover. So anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I didn't go through the whole message because it's really lengthy and very convoluted, very just one BS after another, just after another. There's just one thing that he says that is just that he specifically states that HAARP is no longer in play, which is not true. So again, why would that be stated? Is because, well, if we don't think it's in play, then it's no longer a danger. Therefore, we don't have to worry about it, and we can continue being blissed out. So, folks, whenever you read information like this, please be more discerning. Know what kind of tactics they use when they actually communicate this kind of message. I don't know how more specific I can be without reading the whole thing and making comments on it, but it is what it is. Whether you hear it, in an actual broadcast, a channeled message, which is extremely, it's so syrupy and so fluffed and it's embellished. Why would anyone that is speaking the truth have to embellish the truth? Why? Ask yourself that. Why? If it's the truth, why would I need to embellish it? That's because it's not. And with that, I leave you tonight. Thank you very much again for listening to the show. I'm hoping that if you didn't resonate with this kind of information before, I'm hoping that maybe I planted a little seed just for your consideration, and so that you can at least observe objectively what I'm saying. And then if you finally see it, then please share it with others, so that others are on the same page as well, and so that we can give humanity a fighting chance. This is Ari Kopel for Shattering the Matrix on Blog Talk Radio every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Good night.